Have you ever noticed how the food industry has a way with words? Natural, wholesome, heart healthy, and one of the most powerful labels of all, GRAS. It sounds like your food just got blessed by a choir of angelic lab coats. But GRAS doesn't mean guaranteed risk-free superfood. GRAS means generally recognized as safe. And today, I'm going to break down what that pathway actually is, why it exists, why people question it, and how you, yes you, the person just trying to eat without needing a law degree, can protect your health anyway. Because at the end of the day, my job isn't just to treat symptoms. My job is to help you understand the root causes of why we get sick, and why our food environment is a huge part of that story. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Dr. Tony Hampton. I'm a family and obesity medicine physician, and I spend a lot of my time helping people reverse metabolic chaos, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, fatty liver, weight gain, inflammation. And I can tell you this, a lot of people aren't undisciplined. They're living in a food system that's basically a casino. Bright lights, loud flavors, and the house usually wins. And here's the promise today. By the end of this video, you'll understand what GRAS actually means, what it doesn't mean, why it's controversial, and the simple practical moves you can make, starting today, to avoid becoming the human clinical trial for the newest totally safe we promise ingredient. And I want you to comment while you're watching. Have you ever seen an ingredient on a label that made you squint, like you were reading a prescription written by a squirrel? Type yes and tell me the weirdest ingredient you've seen. All right, in a second, I'm going to tell you the one question that matters more than, is it GRAS? It's the question that actually predicts whether it helps you or slowly breaks your metabolism. But first, what is GRAS? In the US, if you want to add a substance to food, it's generally considered a food additive and usually needs FDA pre-market approval, unless it's GRAS. GRAS is essentially an exception. Congress built it into the law because they realized something important. Not everything needs a brand new formal FDA approval if the safety is already well established, either because it's been used safely in food for a long time, or because experts widely agree the science supports safety under the intended conditions of use. So there are two big doors into GRAS. Door number one, common use in food before January 1, 1958. That date matters because the modern food additive framework got formalized around then. Door number two, scientific procedures, meaning publicly available evidence that qualified experts generally agreed support safety under specific conditions of use. Notice the phrase, under the conditions of its intended use. That's not a throwaway line. That's everything, because water is safe until it's in your lung. Now, here's the part that makes people nervous. GRAS can be determined by a company without the FDA formally approving it first, as long as the company believes the evidence shows general recognition of safety among qualified experts. There is a voluntary FDA notification process where a company can send a GRAS notice to the FDA and the FDA responds. But voluntary is the key word. And yes, the FDA has a GRAS Final Rule 2016 that formalized this notification pathway. So what's the controversy? Let's talk mechanisms, because the root cause lens matters here. The concern is not that every GRAS ingredient is automatically evil. The concern is that the system can allow, number one, self-determination. A company can decide, we believe this is GRAS, and potentially put it into the food supply even if the FDA never reviewed that specific conclusion beforehand. Number two, conflicts of interest. If a company hires experts, funds the studies, and convenes the panel, people worry the process can become less general recognition and more general agreement among folks who got a consultation check. Even the U.S. Government Accountability Office has raised concerns about FDA oversight and potential conflicts of interest in company GRAS determinations and expert panels. Number three, transparency gaps. If a GRAS conclusion is made without notifying the FDA, the public may not easily know it happened, what data was used, and how strong the evidence was. That's why you'll hear critics call it a loophole. And in recent years, it's been back in the spotlight as policy makers and public health voices debate whether the process should require more notification and stronger independent review. Now, let's be fair. Why does GRAS exist? Because without it, the FDA would have to pre-approve everything from salt to vinegar to baking soda, like we're filing paperwork to breathe oxygen. GRAS was designed to avoid unnecessary bureaucracy when safety is already well established. But here's the myth versus mechanism moment. The myth is, if it's GRAS, it must be safe for me. The mechanism-based truth is, GRAS is about whether qualified experts recognize safety for a specific use level and context, not whether it's good for your metabolism, harmless in real-world ultra-processed diets, or safe when people consume it daily for years starting in childhood. And that brings me to the one question I promised. The question that matters more than is it GRAS. Here it is. Does this ingredient help my body function like a human or like a snack-consuming laboratory mouse? Because even if an ingredient is safe in a toxicology sense, it can still be metabolically harmful. For example, something can be non-toxic but still drive cravings, overeating, insulin spikes, gut disruption, or inflammation. That's the root cause lens. We don't just ask, will this kill me today? We ask, will this slowly push me toward diabetes, hypertension, fatty liver, depression, and joint pain over the next decade? So what should you do with this information practically? Here are my don't lose your mind in the grocery store rule. First, when you see GRAS, don't panic, but do pause. GRAS is not a health halo. It's a regulatory category. Second, look for the pattern. Is the ingredient list basically food, or is it a chemistry graduation ceremony? If the product needs 10 GRAS ingredients to be edible, the bigger issue may not be safety. It may be that the food is engineered to be hyper rewarding. Third, focus on your metabolic signals. If you eat something and you get hunger 2 hours later, cravings that feel like your brain is negotiating a hostage release, energy crashes, bloating, or you can't stop thinking about the next bite, that's not willpower failure. That's a biologic response. And ultra-processed foods are very good at pressing those buttons. Fourth, if you want to reduce risk without becoming the food police, use this simple upgrade strategy. Most of your calories from single ingredient foods, protein that satisfies, whole foods that don't require a marketing department. And if you're low carb, keto, or carnivore, stay anchored to foods that don't need a GRAS debate in the first place. Now let's address the common objections. Objection number 1. Doc, everything causes cancer now. Should I just eat air? Listen, air is also problematic in some cities. But no, the goal is not fear. The goal is awareness and simplicity. Food shouldn't make you anxious. Food should make you nourished. Objection number 2. If GRAS is questionable, why doesn't the FDA just ban everything? Because regulation is slow, resources are limited, and the food supply is enormous. Also remember, GRAS wasn't built to be shady. It was built to be efficient. The debate is whether parts of the modern system allow too much self-policing, and rather we need stronger oversight and transparency. Objection number 3. But I've eaten these foods for years. And you're not alone. But we're also living in an era where metabolic disease is everywhere. So the question isn't whether you survived the snack aisle. The question is whether it's helping you thrive. Alright, here's my action step for this week. Pick one ultra-processed food you eat most often. Swap it for a simpler version with fewer ingredients. Do that for 7 days. Then tell me in the comments, did your hunger change? Did your cravings change? Did your energy change? Because your body gives better feedback than a marketing label. And if you want more videos that help you see through the food industry fog, check the playlist in the description. I've put resources there, plus a few next videos you should watch if you're focused on lowering inflammation, improving insulin sensitivity, and protecting your long-term metabolic health. Like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who still thinks GRAS means grandma approved. Because grandma didn't raise you on natural flavors and modified starch. She raised you on food, and your metabolism misses her.